exciting review of this wonderful book titled How to Finish Everything You Start by John Yaga. All right, and today we're going to be looking at chapter 12. In case you missed the previous chapters that detail some practical ways to finishing everything that you start, then you may want to catch up on them on my channel. Right, but today let's look at chapter 12, which is titled The Exception That Proves the Rule. When failing to finish is a good thing. Before now, we've been talking about, finishing everything that you start. Don't leave your project or your task or your relationship abandoned. But today, we're looking at an exception to the rule. When failing to finish is actually a good thing, right? The overriding theme of this book so far has been how to help you to finish everything that you start, especially if you have one or more unfinished tasks or projects. Whether it is decorating your house or finishing college or turning in the blog that is due by the end of the day or getting married in 5 months' time, But here we're going to explore some more philosophical ideas of deciding just what you should be finishing in the first place. When is putting something aside a good decision? At what point do you decide that I'm not going to finish this thing, and that is a good thing, right? To some extent, in chapter 7, we touched on taking control, goal setting and prioritizing. So this is very much related to it. Taking control, prioritizing. And this has to do with the fact that you've started something, and then somewhere along the line, you have a rethink. Now your thoughts is clearer. You are saying something more vividly, and you suddenly realize that, I shouldn't have started this thing in the first place. And it can relate to anything. Probably the course of study that you're doing at the university, or a relationship that you got into with somebody that you called the love of your life, and you were hoping to get married to this person. But somehow you were like, how did I even get into this relationship in the first place? Even though I've promised this person marriage, I don't think that I am going to continue. Or even though I'm already studying this course at the university, I think I have to quit at this point, right? So, this is because finishing is really part of the broader question. Should I have started in the first place? Probably when you started out of emotions, excitement, or out of pressure, or what everybody was doing, and you just wanted to follow the trend. And now you are wiser, you're thinking more clearly, and things like that. So if your answer is no, that you shouldn't have started in the first place, then it is okay to leave it unfinished. Whatever it is, leave it unfinished. If you live in Nigeria and you leave your house one morning, you decide to go to Victoria Island in Lagos, and halfway through the journey, you discover that you are actually headed towards Ibadan in Oyo State. What are you going to do at that point? Are you going to say, I've already started this journey to Ibadan, even though that wasn't where I planned to go in the first place? Since I have started this journey, let me just complete it. Let me just finish it. Is that what you're going to do? I bet your answer is no. You will immediately turn back and face, Victoria Island in Lagos State. Because if you stubbornly continue on that journey to Ibadan, it is going to be a total waste of time, of resources. You know how much a liter of petrol is now. You'd have wasted petrol, because at the end of the day, you have no mission in Ibadan. It is a total waste of time. So at whatever point you realize that you should turn back, please turn back. It is better. I know that we are used to the saying, quitters never win and winners never quit. Don't quit, don't quit. But there are times when quitting is a wise thing to do. There are times when you quit so that you can win. Because you may decide not to quit on that thing, but at the end of the day, you will not win at it because you're in the wrong thing. Right. There are some tasks, projects, and even relationships that are now under reconsideration. You should not have even initiated this in the first place. When you make this considered judgment, when deciding not to finish is a good thing, then it is not a sign of failure or defeat. It is not one of the bad attitudes or behaviors that we've looked at that stop people from finishing. Then this actually is a good thing, because at the end of the day, you are quitting to win. You are quitting to actually be doing what you should be doing. Take marriage, for example. It doesn't matter how many years you have spent dating somebody. It doesn't matter. As long as it still remains at the relationship level, courting level, dating level, whatever. You have not been joined together as husband and wife, even if you have spent 5 years or 10 years dating. And somewhere you have a very strong feeling that you should quit the relationship. It is better you quit, because going into that marriage is going to invalidate all the years of the relationship that you thought that, oh, I didn't want to waste these years. I don't want people to see me as a bad person or somebody that can't make up her mind, something like that. It is better, because the number of years you spend in the marriage is far more than what you have spent in the relationship. It is till death do you part. So anything at all. None of us are stagnant. Although in general, our values remain somewhat consistent over time. There are ideas or considerations that lead us to determine or decide that our energy and talent is better placed on another direction. So I ask you to consider one or more of the projects that you feel you want to finish and assess if it is something you really want to do. Should you continue doing it? Or is this something you must do? If there are logical, noteworthy reasons that it should be put aside temporarily or permanently, please do so. You want to make an active decision based on weighing the pros and cons of a situation or a project, making your decision about whether to keep going forward or to put it aside, based on clear thoughts rather than out of frustration, depression, procrastination, fear of failure, and all of those bad attitudes, right? The author also gave a very good example here of how she had to quit a career in art temporarily, for something else, for some other lines of career that she enjoyed doing. And she had to pursue something else. And she eventually found happiness in that. And somehow she found a way to still bring in her art career into what she was doing. So she didn't quit totally, but she had to find a way around it so that she would feel fulfilled in life. Probably you are at the university and you're studying a wrong course. It is still a long journey ahead of life. You may want to turn back. There were people who registered to study medicine at the university. And somewhere along the line, they were like, oh, I don't like blood. I can't do this and I can't do that. In Nigeria, studying medicine, it's a 7-year course. You don't want to waste 7 years doing something that you don't like. Not even with a course like medicine. You're not going to be toiling with people's lives, right? So remember the 80-20 rule, the Pareto's principle of 80-20 that we explored in chapter 7, that says that 20% of your effort produce 80% of your results. So you now have to look at it. What is this 20% effort, so that you can zone in on that, to put in all your energy, your time and everything, so that you can get 80% results in whatever you are doing. There is no time to waste time, no time to be doing the wrong thing, just doing trial and error or doing things that you're not convinced about. It is going to be a waste of time. If you know what you should be doing, you're convinced about what you should be doing, it only takes 20% of your effort to achieve 80% of your results. So you see that it is not much. The only reason why we don't achieve our result most of the time is that we are not sure of what we should be doing. So we don't know what to put our effort and concentration, focus, time, energy, and everything in. And at the end of the day, the result is very minimal. But if you are clear on what you should be doing, you zone in on that, you focus on that fully, and you will see yourself soaring. People are going to be saying, oh, you are lucky, you're lucky. You're not lucky. It's because you know what you're doing, you are clear about it, and your energy, your time, your focus is on that thing. Before we go, let's quickly look at an effect called the Hemingway effect. And this is an interesting study or discovery that was conducted in Japan that set out to prove something that the researchers, the names of the researchers are Yoshinori Oyama, Emmanuel Manalo, and Yoshihide Nakatani. They refer to this phenomenon as the Hemingway effect, in the research that they did. And they call this the Hemingway effect because they discovered that it was based on the quote of the interview with the famous writer Ernest Hemingway, who answered the question when it was asked. It was asked, how much should you write in a day? He was a famous writer himself. So he was asked, how much should you write in a day? And his answer was this. He said, the best way is always to stop when you are going good and when you know what will happen next. That is the best point to stop. If you do that every day when you are writing a novel, you are never going to be stuck. Let me explain this to you. In essence, what the Hemingway effect means is that anytime you are on a project, maybe you are writing a book, you are conducting a research, whatever it is that you are doing, a project, a task, anything, before you call it off for that day, you close your laptop, close your books, drop your pen, whatever, to say, I'm calling it a day. Make sure you stop at the time when your energy is still high, when the idea is still flowing, and you know what you want to write next, right? Don't stop when you are stuck and you're racking your brain. What should I do next? If you do that, you will not have the motivation to continue the next day or the next time, right? But stop when the idea is flowing. Stop at a very good point. The idea is still flowing. You know what to write next. Stop at that point so that when you pick it up the next time, because you already know what you want to write next, you start based on what you know, and then that will give you motivation to keep writing or to keep doing what you want to do, because you stopped at the point that you knew what was to come next, not when you were stuck and short of ideas. That is the Hemingway principle. And this was actually tested with some undergraduate students in Japan. They were given some copies of newspapers and they were told to copy some of the articles, probably into their notes or something. They were given like 2 minutes, 40 seconds to lift some words from the newspaper somewhere else. And as they were writing, they would be writing because, of course, they were copying directly from the newspaper. And as soon as it was 2 minutes, 40 seconds, they were told to stop. And none of them, the essence of telling them to stop was so that they would not finish. And because they had not finished and they knew what to write next, they were eager to finish. They were eager to complete it. They were not told to stop at a point when they were racking their brain. What should I write next? No. They saw what is left. They were told to count how many characters, how many words were left for them to copy. And because they found that, we have only few words left, they were eager to ask for extra time. Let us quickly finish this. That is the Hemingway effect. So always hang up something at the point that is good and you know that you know what you're going to write next. Another experiment was conducted with some students, and this time the students were divided into two. Some were asked to write a structured, to come up with structured writing, and the other group unstructured. Those that were given a structured task had the motivation to continue and to finish more than those who were given an unstructured task. This is to say that if you want to keep doing something, you want your motivation to be sustained, make sure you have a structure, make sure you have a plan towards it. Right, that will give you the motivation to continue. But don't forget what we're trying to say in this chapter. In essence, let's go back to the beginning. It is not a must that you finish something. If along the line you discover that you shouldn't be doing it, that it is a waste of time, a waste of energy, a waste of resources, and that you shouldn't have started in the first place. Maybe when you started, you did not think it through, started out of excitement or whatever. Now you've realized that you should not continue, and that is your best decision. Please, by all means, just leave it unfinished. Leave it unfinished. What that means is that you may now have to go to something that you're supposed to actually be doing. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Thank you for being a part of this review. I hope that you learned something. Right. Please don't forget to like this video. Share your comments with me in the comment section below. And please subscribe to this channel in case you are yet to subscribe. I remain Olaide Agbaje, also known as First Lady. And on this channel, I inspire you to live intentionally. We have 2 more chapters to treat in this book. Tomorrow we're going to meet again as we take some concluding thoughts. And here we have different things we're going to talk about, the Hawthorne effect, dealing with ADHD, so many things. This is rich, I tell you, and I'm sure you don't want to miss it. Until then, be intentional. Bye.